Hi, and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to explain a 1995 satirical black comedy film named To Die For, based on the novel of the same name by Joyce Maynard, which in turn was inspired by the story of Pamela Start. The movie follows the story of the stunning and alluring Suzanne Stone, a resident of Little Hope, New Hampshire, aspires to fame and is an aspiring TV personality. She marries Larry Moretto, whose father runs a restaurant, and gets him to use the money he has saved to get her a condo and a Mustang for the university. Then she decides to accept a position at a local station, paying the minimum salary in order to concentrate on her own projects, including one with young people attending a public school. She meets Lydia Mertz, Russell Hines, and Jimmy Emmett, three punks, and records hours of cassettes with them. Suzanne senses a danger to her intended profession when Larry asks her to participate in a talent competition he wants to install at the restaurant, and she chooses to divorce her husband. Jimmy is duped into believing she's in love with him by her. After then, Jimmy intends to kill Larry because she has shown that he's a cruel man. What will happen to Larry and its crimes? What about Suzanne's dreams? Serious spoilers ahead. The movie is not for kids, so sit back and enjoy. The movie opens in Little Hope, New Hampshire in a cold winter day. The gorgeous and aspirational Suzanne Stone is all over the newspaper for being a seductress who ends her husband, Larry's life. The scene shifts to Suzanne making a video documentary. She introduces herself and her husband's family. Suzanne can be very dramatic and expresses the dream of becoming a celebrity one day. She seems sad that her husband is no longer alive. She does point out that she loves her husband's family as her second family. The recording shifts to Janice, Larry's sister, and a voice from behind the camera asks her about her first impression of Suzanne. Janice recalls the first time Suzanne and Larry met in their family restaurant. Larry was smitten by Suzanne the moment she first came to the restaurant. Larry was a handsome young man who would play the drums and could have gotten anyone. All the beautiful girls from the town wanted Larry's attention, but Larry was in awe with Suzanne. Janice says that she tried to advise her brother otherwise. She gave subtle hints by matching Larry up with other girls. However, Larry wouldn't move away from his blonde crush. He even stopped all of Janice's approaches to set him up with other beautiful girls. Somehow, Janice felt that Suzanne was not the right girl for her brother, but before she could completely process her feelings, Larry announced to Janice that he wants to marry Suzanne. Soon, Larry, Janice, and Suzanne started to hang out. One afternoon, Janice talks about her ice skating hobby, which she wants to find a full-time career in. Suzanne makes comments on her looks that makes Janice uncomfortable. Suzanne is definitely full of herself. She talks about how she's going to be a famous journalist, interviewing one of the famous political figures. She talks about sympathy and consideration for Jewish people, and Larry just listens in amazement at how intelligent and compassionate Suzanne is. The movie shifts to Suzanne's video documentary. Suzanne always knew who she wanted to be and thrived at her dreams. She feels that some people don't actually know who they are until it's much later. Such a case is absolute tragedy, and Suzanne pities such people. When she was a young woman, she has always been infatuated with being on television and wanted to become a well-known broadcast journalist. As a flashback shows little Suzanne sitting in front of the TV and being fascinated by the camera her father was recording her with. The scene shifts to the Laura TV show where Earl Stone, Suzanne's father, talks about the first time he got to know about the relationship between Larry and Suzanne. Her parents are not happy when she starts a passionate relationship with the Italian-American Larry Moretto. Earl was very unsatisfied with Larry's education as he only studied till high school, whereas Suzanne studied in college. Earl specifically mentioned the differences in the family background. He thinks Larry's family may be into some shady business or even be associated with the mafia. Of course, Suzanne laughed it out, but her father wasn't sure of Larry, especially how Larry brought the naughty side of Suzanne out. According to Suzanne's sister, Larry made Suzanne wild. In the Laura TV show, Larry's parents also shared similar concerns. They also wanted Larry to marry a cute Italian girl to carry on the culture and the Italian heritage. However, Suzanne was not family-focused. She focused on her studies and her passion for arts and attention. Larry, on the other hand, loved this part about Suzanne. He was happy to even sell his favorite instrument, the drums, to afford a wedding with Suzanne despite everyone's warning. Larry was proud of the wedding bands because Suzanne designed and made them all by herself. Janice is not so impressed because the wedding bands were round and gold like every other band. The two soon get married. The two appear to settle into married life amicably. despite the disparities in their respective families, and Larry vows to support her professional aspirations. The two head to Florida for their honeymoon. Larry loves fishing in boats, so he makes the most of it, while Suzanne stays in the hotel, worried she might get tanned. When the newlyweds returned, they looked happy. Larry was able to mortgage a condo and buy his beloved wife a Mustang. In order to maintain her financial security, she works as an assistant at the local cable channel WWEN in the hopes of moving up the network food chain. She also utilizes the family restaurant company as a source of income. She finally succeeds in getting promoted to presenting the station's evening weather report through her tenacious perseverance. To find participants for a documentary, Teens Speak Out, which focuses on various difficulties teens are facing, Suzanne visits a nearby high school. Jimmy Emmett and Russell Hines, two criminals she quickly attracts, as well as Lydia Mertz, a timid and insecure young woman who admires Suzanne's glitz and worldliness, become her companions. In an effort to get her to work at the restaurant and raise a family with him, Larry starts pressing Suzanne to give up her job. As he persists, Suzanne sees him as a barrier to the future she wants and starts planning his murder right away. By making up allegations of abuse and assuring him that they would be able to start a new life together in California if Larry were killed, she seduces Jimmy and persuades him to kill Larry. Additionally, she tricks Lydia into getting a gun. Jimmy and Russell steal into the Moretto's condominium one evening when Suzanne is given the nightly weather report, and Jimmy shoots Larry to death. Although the cause of Larry's murder is determined to be a failed burglary, the police discover a Teens Speak Out footage of Suzanne at their school that suggests she had a sexual relationship with Jimmy. The teenagers are detained and linked to the scene of the crime. Suzanne accidentally admits to being involved in the murder when Lydia strikes a deal with the police to speak with her while wearing a wire. Nevertheless, Suzanne claims that the police used entrapment and is freed on bond despite the incriminating evidence. The allegations against Suzanne are all dismissed. But Suzanne, enjoying the attention from the media, marks up a tale about Larry being a cocaine addict who was killed by Jimmy and Russell, his alleged distributors. Life sentences have been imposed on Jimmy and Russell. Lydia is freed on probation, while Russell receives a reduced term. In the meantime, Joe, Larry's father, suspects Suzanne of being responsible for his son's death and uses his contacts in the mafia to have her killed. By pretending to be a member of a film studio's management team, a visitor entices Suzanne away from her house, ends her, and buries her body beneath a frozen lake. Lydia explains her side of the tale in a televised appearance, garners widespread attention, and eventually becomes a superstar. The ice-covered lake where Suzanne's body is found is being used by Janice, Larry's sister, who has always detested Suzanne, to practice her ice skating. The visitor turns out to be a mafia hitman hired by Suzanne's Italian-American in-laws to take her out once the Morettos discover the truth about their beloved son's murder. A close shot of Joe Moretto's face as he hangs up the phone and shares a knowing gaze with his wife, Angela, across the floor of their crowded family restaurant indicates that the work is over. The contact killer has buried Suzanne beneath the frozen waters of a frozen lake. Van Sand's camera skimming over the surface to see her beauty crystallized and preserved eternally like some tragic princess of tale. That was all for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's movie, and for more such contents, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to like and comment on this video. We always appreciate your support.